Last time we finally launched Flying Coney, but what does that mean for the project? Are we almost done now? Well, the short answer is no. We are just at the beginning of the project and it will take us years to bring Flying Coney back to life. But I will tell you all the details in this video while we prepare Flying Coney to leave Urk.
Built as a warship, fished the stormy North Sea, converted into a beautiful sailing ship, unfortunately converted once more into a motor sailor, and finally rescued by us. We are now dedicated to bring the ship back to life. We have to restore the hull, build an entirely new interior, and eventually convert her back into a sailing ship. And then we can finally sail the ocean together with you. So welcome aboard Flying Coney.
Hello, it's so good to see you again. I'm Barbara and together with Daniel I restore the historic steel ship Flying Coney. Last time we finally launched her and we got many comments how beautiful she is now. However, we also got some comments regarding her name. And yes, I know it isn't pretty. It was just a quick fix when we bought her and we used some tape to put the name on because it's mandatory. But it was never meant to stay on forever. So I have good news for you. We bought these nice golden letters when we were in Urk. But obviously, they're still not on. And there's a good reason for that. Before we can put on the name, we have to de-rust and paint the bulwark. So a small task is always bigger than you might think. And we are just at the beginning of the refit project. I know with the launching and all the work that went into the hull, it seems like we got a lot done. But to be honest, we just started. And there is a very long list of very important tasks that need to be done before Flying Coney finally looks like this. And unfortunately, painting and putting a nice looking name on the boat is not on top of the list. And now let's go back to Urk for the last preparations before we can go back to our home port. So we are finally back in the water. And now the next task is to paint the spots we couldn't reach when we were on land, and therefore we need this working platform over there. Ashore we had these big stanchions on each side, so we couldn't paint Flying Coney underneath them. And we got some scratches from the cart and from the fishing dinghy that helped to push us into the berth last time. Because, you know, the engine wasn't starting.
Shit.
But that's the big benefit of a steel ship. Just a bit of paint and you can pretend it never happened. But before we start painting, I want to welcome all our new supporters on Patreon, PayPal and Super Thanks. And an extra big thanks goes to all our officers, who really go above and beyond to keep this project going. Thank you so much. And now, let's start painting. Launching Flying Coney was a big step. However, we are far away from a finished project. When you build a boat, there is a rule that says 1/3 of the work is the hull, 1/3 is the interior, and 1/3 is the rigging. So let's see how far we are with Flying Coney right now. We ripped out almost the entire interior, so that part is completely missing. Flying Coney is a motor sailor right now, and we want to make a sailing ship out of her. But then I will talk more about it later on in this video. But basically that means we need a completely new rig. So that third is also missing. Well, at least we have a hull, and we put a lot of work into it during the shipyard time. But it isn't finished yet. We still have to replace the broken frames and the leaking tag. So I would say 1/3 of this third is done. We decided we want to try this rig and use the sails maybe next spring. So we think it is a good idea to change this part because it's quite rusted and the former owner cut it open because the boom got stuck. And today Cash will cut this off and weld a new pipe on so we can sail next year.
While Case repairs our gooseneck, let's talk a bit about Flying Coney's rig. Right now, Flying Coney is a motor sailor. She has a rig to save fuel and to prevent her from rolling in heavy seas. But the sail area is way too small to use the sails as main propulsion. And also the big wheelhouse and superstructures are more common for a motorboat. But we want to go sailing, and therefore we want the sailing ship. Flying Coney's hull is perfect for converting her back into one. She already had a proper rig back in the 70s, and we heard that she was a very fast and seaworthy schooner back then. So to transfer Flying Coney into a real sailing ship, we have to lower the aft deck and the wheelhouse. And of course we have to put a proper rig on. That means 2 masts that are way higher than the one we have now. To give you an idea how she will look one day, we took a picture of Flying Coney's hull to make this drawing. So that's actually her hull with the aft deck and wheelhouse lowered and the rig of a topsail schooner. The one we plan to put on. We still can't believe what a beauty she will be once we are finished. And now, let me know what you think.
What are you doing?
Waiting until the circuit breaker trips, then I exchange where the cable is plugged in and reset the circuit breaker. Before we can put the boom back in place, we have to wait until the two-component paint is dry. So let's talk about the next steps to bring Flying Coney back to life. The most important step is to renew the CVO. The CVO is a regular inspection to make sure that the ship is up to standard, and without it you are not allowed to move the ship. And if we miss to renew it, we have to comply with the rules for a newly built ship, and that's basically impossible. So we have to get Flying Coney ready for the CVO in time.
She thinks I'm a little lazy, I think she's a little crazy. We like summer and we like spring, watching wrestling in the rain. She ain't shy, she speaks her mind, tough as nails and smooth as wine. We burn hot as kerosene, baby, we got our own thing.
Luckily, the last thing that needs to be done for the CVO are the frames. When we ripped out the interior and all the insulation, we found many broken frames and we have to repair them. Many of them corroded away right where the concrete starts. That's typical because all the water collects right here. So to repair them, we have to hammer out all the concrete in between, and that will take some time. So this is the main task for the next shipyard time. Get rid of the concrete, repair the frames and renew the CVO. When that's done, we can finally continue with less urgent tasks, like renewing our leaking deck, or sticking a nicely printed name on our bow, or catching up on the maintenance backlog on the engine, the generator and the hydraulic system, and we definitely have to renew our electric system, because we don't want to risk another big damage. So enough work for future us. However, just when we were done with most of the preparations, there was a big event on Urk. Urk used to be an island on the North Sea, until the Dutch decided to build dikes to gain land. You can imagine that the locals who lived from fishing the North Sea were not quite happy about that. The event was about this time and all the troubles Urk had to overcome. So we took the opportunity to forget about our project and do some time traveling. And I highly recommend you watch closely, because you might recognize some actors from welding on Flying Coney.
Komt het nu uit zichzelf, dan komt hij terug in zichzelf.
Achterlijk en stom. Eens een lesje moeten leren. In de haven deponeren. Strak idee waar ik je brood. We laten ons die kisten doorliegen van hoge heren. Wat ze ook proberen met hun achterlijk gedrag. We laten ons die kisten niet schofferen. En zeker niet scalperen door een ongeleerd gedrag.
Twee vast maar kijken.
Maar eerst moet ik even een bolletje maken, zeg maar. Dus en dan gewoon even een gat in slaan.
I totally understand that our approach might be a bit confusing. For all the other projects here on YouTube, the goal is to get ready to launch and then they are done. However, we just launched Flying Coney and are now telling you that we just started this project and it will take years until we finish it. Well, let me explain. Our plan was always to do as much work as possible while we are afloat. First of all, because a berth usually is much cheaper than a place ashore, And second, because we can bring Flying Coney to the experts and are not bound to one place and what's available there. The plan for the last shipyard time was to take Flying Coney out of the water, put on new anodes and anti-fouling and go back in. However, with the big corrosion damage, we had to rip everything apart while we were ashore. And that was never the plan. You can easily gut the interior while afloat, and that's what we wanted to do during the winter. Anyway, what I try to say is we will only haul out whenever it is necessary and just get the things done that need to be done ashore, like welding below the waterline. But everything else will be done while Flying Coney is afloat. So there will be more than just one shipyard time, and launching is not the end of the project. As you see, this project consists of many different steps. Some are very big and some are quite small, like exchanging the side glass of our cooling water expansion tank. Did you invite the guys
Yep.
to a boat tour?
I did.
Okay, then I think we have to do the boat tour now.
Yep.
Hi!
Hi, down below.
Maybe there still is the old gasket in. There it is.
Thanks.
We're the weird ones on the block.
Stuffs some cash down in her bra.
I even like my mother-in-law.
She's my backwoods beauty queen.
Baby, we
Got
got
our
our
own thing. We got our own thing. We don't need no ring. We ain't rich, but son of a bitch, we're a hillbilly king and queen. Life don't seem so hard with you beneath the stars. 'Cause we're growing four-leaf clovers in the yard. Yeah, we're growing four-leaf clovers in the yard.
I think it's enough. Should I try to open it?
You can.
Oh. I think it's full.
It's good.
It's working. I think it's not leaking.
Nice.
Great. Done!
Great.
I know we are just at the beginning of our refit project, but we already know what we want to do once Flying Coney is finished. I think with such a big project it is very important to have a vision, to know why you are doing this. Because otherwise you easily get lost and you never reach the goal. So what is our vision? Of course, Flying Coney will be our home and we want to travel to many places. But she is way too big for just the two of us. We bought her because we want to travel together with friends, supporters and other ship enthusiasts. So in other words, with you. And we can't wait until we are ready to set sails. But until then, let's enjoy this refit. And I think that's a perfect point to end this video. If you want to get more involved in this project, you can head over to Patreon. There you find real-time updates and we talk about the next steps in this project in regular Zoom calls. If you want to give it a try, you can join us free of charge for 1 week. It would be great to meet you there. Otherwise, I'll see you next time when we finally sail back to Lelystad. Thank you so much for watching and goodbye.